Welcome back to Inside Guelph. Well, it's time for our monthly book review with the Guelph Public Library. Susan Ratcliffe joining me. Thanks for being here, Susan.
Thank you very much.
I love
nice
you've got a pile of books on your lap.
Yes, I do.
It seems like you lost a few on the way in.
Yes, well, you have pictures on them on the TV, so that's okay.
All right, so let's get started. We're doing local authors.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yes.
What's your first pick?
Well, I've got two local authors. One is Veronica Ross, and one is Pat Mastern. Okay. So Veronica Ross, the book Millicent, is about a lady in Cambridge who claimed to be married to Edward VIII, and her gravestone in Cambridge says she was the wife of Edward VIII. That's real. And so Veronica Ross has written a detective story about that claim and investigating the claim. And there's intrigue with royal agents who might be trying to stop this claim. There may be a child, and there are some factual basis for it. But I chose this one because there are scenes that take place in the bookshelf in Guelph, in the Guelph Public Library, in the Kitchener Public Library. So it's familiar, so you don't have to see Dan Brown in Washington. This is a detective right in Guelph with a local story.
Is it true that she was the wife? Does no one really know?
It's unclear. She said she was. She when she died, and during her life, she said she married him in the 1920s.
Good
and
for
the
her.
royal family wouldn't
acknowledge.
Allow it to no. So Veronica Ross has written 11 books, and she's all local author and lives in Kitchener and does a lot of work in Guelph. So I think it's important that we read our local people, and that's what I'd like to stress.
And that's Millicent, it's Veronica Ross.
Millicent by Veronica Ross.
Perfect. Yes. Okay, and your next pick?
The next pick is Pat Mastern, who actually spoke to the Friends of the Public Library last week. And she's written 8 books, and I'd like to feature the one called Granite, which is set in the hills of Mulmer in Dufferin County. Now, her first book was set in her own home in Fergus, called Clara. And she claimed that Clara, who was a real person, actually visited her from the grave, and she haunts the house nicely and wants her story told. Another one, Anna, is about the poorhouse in Wellington County, set in the poorhouse, now the museum. So she too focuses on local people and local stories.
Ooh, and what happens in Granite?
Well, this one's set in the 1960s, and it's the story of a woman trying to preserve her house, called Granite, and all the land around it from a local developer. And there's mystery and murder and hidden files and fraud to do with the development industry. So even though it's set in 1960, it's an issue that still happens
today. Especially up there in the Mulmer Hills.
Yes.
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 Okay, and the happy haunting.
Yes.
Is she actually saying this really?
Yes, she saw Clara. And this is Pat Mastern's house. And the woman lived in that house, and she said she saw her, and other people have seen her in the house as well.
Have a look at it. I like a little haunting. And this is all true. So this one is based on
stories from Fergus. Pat was born in Fergus and lives within a mile of her birthplace, and all the stories came from her grandmother.
I love when you open the pages and there's all these old pictures in it, and every street you can recognize, and sounds. Okay,
and
great.
Pat's grandfather actually built all the bowstring bridges in Wellington County.
Really?
So local connections are important in these books.
And what about Anna? Is it Anna?
Anna is set in the Wellington County Museum, which was the poorhouse of Wellington County. And she was one of the inhabitants who actually lived there. So the stories tell about that. And Pat Mastern worked in the museum for several years. She also ran the Fergus Highland Games for several years. So she has an intimate knowledge of the community that's just fascinating, the stories that she tells.
It's so neat.
Yes.
Is that one all true as well then?
Yes.
Anna's all true.
Yes.
So Granite's the one.
Based on true people. And there was a person that this story was based on, but the characters are not as factual as they are in the other two.
Oh, that's such a great idea. And you can always head to the library and get someone to help you to find local authors.
Yes.
Or joining the book club at the library is a great idea. Are these sorts of books part of the book club as well?
The one I talked about last time, Sandra Sabatini's book was.
Okay.
But these are not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's the key word, Susan. Thank you for being here and introducing me to those authors.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I love the book review. Have a great weekend, too.
Thank you.
Okay, speaking of what we're going to do, this is the Hockey Now. Rogers TV will carry complete coverage of games 2 through 7 of the 2010 Western Conference quarterfinals.